Hey, fight fans, welcome back to Carl Prusa MMA. Today we got a special guest. My guest is making his return to the Dana White Contender Series on August 19th, taking on Jon Kunneman. He is Mr. Cam Rowston. Cam, what's up, my friend? How are you doing?
Very good. Very good. Thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely, my friend. So you're all the way New Zealand right now. You know, you train with one of the best gyms in the world, obviously Eugene Behrman and the rest of the city kickboxing folks over there. What led your way to that gym?
Um, I'm originally from Sydney, Australia. So I was born in Australia. What led my way over to there was I saw I saw the writing on the wall. I wouldn't say early, but earlier than most people. I saw what Eugene was doing with the fighters there. I saw how the fighters were going. I just watched them how they fight, and I was like, I'm gonna get me some of that. So then it's quite an easy move. It's just like you don't need another visa or anything. It's Australia and New Zealand are basically just like another city in the same country. So I just moved over there. Said I'd be gone for a year to my mum, and it's been 6.5 years since I've moved.
You know, there's so many great fighters obviously associated with that gym. I mean, obviously you got Kai Kara France, you got Adesanya, you got Volkanovski, you got Riddell. There's so many of those guys. What's it like being able to mix it up with that high level of training partners?
It's uh, it's a very humbling experience. Some days you get them, some days they get you. Sometimes for the whole week they've got you. You know, it's yeah, very very humbling.
Absolutely. You know, so many people are watching this sport in this day and age, which is truly amazing. I mean, there's UFC almost every weekend now. You have the PFL, Bare Knuckle One, all these different professional organizations. Very few people understand what it's like to be a fighter. You know, when you're battling it out on the regional scene, a lot of guys have to have those 9 to 5 jobs because you're not making millions of dollars fighting on the regional scene. You miss birthdays, weddings, Thanksgivings, dinners. You sacrifice everything, just the chance maybe to fight in one of the bigger promotions in the world. You know, you've been doing this for a long time. You've had a lot of success in it. But what's made you want to keep going and stay through this crazy journey?
Um, it's obviously it's the enjoyment of it. It's the I'd say the thrill of fighting is what keeps me going. The high, the intense highs and the intense lows. It's just it's good to feel something. Whether it's the lows suck, but the highs are just as good. I mean, so the highs are what make the lows so good. And then just just doing that, even if it wasn't in one of the leading promotions. If it was still on the regional scene, I'd still be fighting as much as I can until my body gave out. Just because it just makes you feel alive.
Absolutely. You know, when you were first starting out in Australia, New Zealand, on the regional scene, the amateur scene, if you will, what was the fight scene like? Was there a lot of events? Has it grown over the years?
It was quite shallow when I first started in Sydney. In Australia, there was probably only three major promotions, two or three major promotions, and then since then, two of those have actually fallen off, and one of those promotions only survives. Although, like new promotions have popped up in Australia since then. In New Zealand, there was basically one major promotion when I moved over, Shuriken. They're still around. They're on UFC Fight Pass, and they're just growing. They've gone from about one or two shows a year to now doing 4 shows a year. Plus, other smaller shows have popped up as well. Kickboxing shows, which are huge. They're everywhere in New Zealand. I started to adopt MMA as well, and started to bring in caged events. So it's just like in Australia, I've seen it grow, but in New Zealand, I've with such a small population, it's probably like the amount of shows per year is quadrupled.
You feel like guys like Volkanovski, Adesanya, Eugene, are those big part of reasons why in that area it's growing and getting more accepted?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's the cool sport to do now for kids. Kids in New Zealand, in Australia, they don't want to go and play rugby, or they don't want to play soccer anymore. They want to put a pair of mitts on and go to the gym, because then they're the baddest kid on the playground. They want to be able to say, oh yeah, me and Adesanya, we train at the same gym, or me and Volkanovski, we train at the same gym. So those guys have definitely helped it grow, but also coaches like Joe Lopez and Eugene as well. They've also helped it grow, because if you could just have these kids come in and run wild, but then you've got these coaches telling them, hey, this is how it's done, this is what you'll need to do, like keeping them in check.
Absolutely. You know, one thing I really enjoy about watching you fight is you're a very well-rounded mixed martial artist. I mean, you have very, very good jiu-jitsu and wrestling. You also have amazing striking. I mean, you really use the size and the reach to your advantage. At what point were you really starting to think, hey, if I want to try to get to that next level, then I'd be as well-rounded as possible?
To be honest, it was like from the start of when I first started my MMA journey. Like the guys who were the top of the MMA scene at the time were Demetrius Johnson, GSP, or John Jones, obviously, and those guys have always been well rounded. And I remember an interview that Demetrius Johnson did, and he's just talking about how you got to be good at everything. Everything's got to come up. Like you can't just the way he structures his training. He's like, I do everything, but he's like, if I get bored with jiu-jitsu, I'll go do some more kickboxing. Then I get bored of kickboxing, I go back to jiu-jitsu, and everything's just going up like this. And so I thought that was quite interesting. I was like, I'm going to adopt that approach. And yeah, so I've pretty much had that mindset since I first started training.
You know, following your first appearance on the Contender last year, you know, you've been staying active. You've had 3 fights since then, all wins, looking very dominating. 2 of those 3 are finishes in there. For you, after that loss, was it a precedent to try to be as active as possible to get back as quick as you could?
Yeah, definitely. It was. I came out of that, and it was just frustration. There was no injuries. There was no, oh, I got to take time off because I hurt this. It was like a lot of frustration, and I could channel that frustration into training. And history has told us, like, those who lose on Contender Series, they don't all. That's it. A lot of them, you don't hear from them again. Maybe they fight 1 or 2 more times back on the local scene, but there are a few guys who go out there and they bang out some fights. They bang out 3, 4 fights within that year, and they get back on in Contender Series, or they get picked up short notice. A guy who I really looked at and used as an example to help me was Diego Lopez. Like, he lost on Contender Series, quite a very good fight, close fight. The guy he lost to ends up going on a tear in the UFC, really good. And then Diego goes and has, I think it was 2 regional fights, like in quite quick succession. And then he just got picked up like short notice to fight, who was it? Ibloyev, I think. Yeah. So I took some inspiration from that.
You know, your first time on the Contender Series, you took on Torres Finney. You know, the bout didn't go your way. There were some good moments in that fight for you. A year later, what did you make of it?
Oh, a year later, I look at that Cam Rowston that was in there with Torres Finney, and he was just a little bit unsure and hesitant. It'd been a while since I had an MMA fight. Between my last MMA fight and the Torres Finney fight, it had been, well, maybe almost a year, or a bit more than a year. But yeah, so it was a little bit unsure, testing the waters, and going back in there and dipping the toes in. But it wasn't dipping the toes, and it was just diving headfirst into an ice cold river.
You know, following the Torres Finney fight, you know, for Torres, he got a lot of flack after that fight. Were you kind of surprised at how that all went down?
Yeah, I was really surprised that people were giving him so much shit. And I'm like, fuck, the guy's really good at what he does. Like, I think we're going to see him do that to all the way into probably the top 15, or maybe even the top 10 or top 5 in the UFC. Like, I look at the last fight he had against Robert Ballantyne, did the same thing as well. And it's people hate on it just because it's probably because they put some money down on the guy and they lost. But yeah, if you hate it, go out there and try and stop it. That's what I reckon people should do.
You know, how do you think you have grown and evolved since your last time out on the Contender?
Just confident, just getting back in there, having 3 fights, knowing like, hey, I enjoy doing this, I like doing this, and this is how I do it. I like to, not saying I'm my own coach or I run the show my own way, but it's like when I'm in there and I'm fighting, I'm like, oh yeah, this is how I like to fight. This is what I like to do. So that's just a bit more confidence.
You know, for you, do you find that fighting is more mental than it is physical?
Yeah, definitely. At this stage, I think, you know, you're on the cusp of the UFC. Everyone's physical attributes are maxed out. They've maxed out all their physical attributes, and it just comes down to mental. Like who wants it more on the night, who's got the better mental approach, who's dealing with things better in their head.
Where were you when you got the phone call that you were going back to the Contender?
Oh, geez, where was I? I think I was. I think I was coming. I think I was walking into the gym, and Eugene was holding pads for someone, and he was just staring at me, staring a hole through me. I'm like, what the fuck have I done? Like, have I left my underwear in the shower again, or something like that, or have I don't know, have I walked onto the mat with shoes on, and then he came up and he whispered in my ear that I was doing it again. I was like, oh yeah, sweet, yeah, let's go.
So on week 2, you're taking on Jon Kunneman, another guy who's really proved himself well on the regional scene, another top middleweight prospect. Overall, what do you think of him as an opponent here?
I think Jon's a bit of he's a wild man, not wild in his technique, but he comes forward. He's not going to take a step back. He's a strong guy. Like we actually had a meeting. We met each other just by chance in Las Vegas, maybe about 7 weeks ago when we were over there filming some stuff at the Apex, and I was opening my hotel door room. Just that was the first time I was going in, and then the room across the hallway opened up, and it was Jon, and he's like, oh, Cam Rowston, and I turn around, and I'm like, oh, Jon Kunneman, and we just shook hands and made like some pleasant small talks. He's a very respectful guy. Like he's super nice, very respectful, which is cool. And yeah, just kind of like sized each other up for a bit, and then we just went back into each other's room. Yeah.
From a stylistic standpoint, what do you think of this contest?
I think it's going to be interesting. Not as clear cut with the styles as the Torres Finney fight with in terms of how hard Finney pushes the grappling, but it's definitely going to be more of an MMA fight.
What I really like about this contest, I mean, both of you guys are very well-rounded, complete martial artists, in my opinion. Could you see this one getting very technical?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. I think as soon as we both lock up, it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be, we've both maxed out our physical attributes, and it's just going to come down to who's sharper mentally, who's like ahead of the game in the movements and the techniques, who's playing chess in there.
You know, the way they do the Contender Series is really like one of the most unique things in the world. I mean, to me, it's the perfect job interview to get into an organization like the UFC. There's no walkout music. You go in there. There's hardly anyone in there watching you. You do what you got to do, and you get out of there. Being that you've already been there, you've been to the hotel, you understand how they shuttle you, what's it like in the back, the fight itself. Do you like that? Does that put you at ease? Does that put you at a better mindset this go around?
I mean, yeah, the way they do it is very efficient. It's like they got like 16 weeks of doing the same thing, so I understand that they have to do it like that. But it's having already done it, it's makes everything way more smoother. There's no unknown variables. It's very business-like. So I know that I have to go in there with a very business-like mindset.
Are you envisioning that potential moment after the fight, you 4 other winners sitting beside you, Dana White calling your name, shaking your hand, you getting the contract from him?
Yeah, I already know what I'm going to say when I shake his hand.
Very good. What would it mean for you to find the UFC?
It would be a justification of all my sacrifices from the last 12, 13 years. Yeah, it would just be showing everyone who's been supporting me that that I made it and it was worth it, and that the support was very, very appreciated.
You know, what would it mean to also become another Aussie, you know, in the UFC? We're starting to see a lot of Australian guys now in there. It's really growing, as you mentioned earlier, about what it'd be like to represent your country in the UFC.
I've always wanted to represent my country in sport. I was very big into basketball when I was younger. I was really wanted to play basketball at a high level, but didn't get there. But doing it in another sport would mean a lot, and I think I'd really like to use that platform to maybe help a lot of the communities in Australia as well.
You know, so many people are watching this day and age, and I think for the most part, most fans have a basic idea of what's going on. You know, they know you guys train, you try to get into fights, trying to get the UFC, trying to win belts, all that stuff. But very few people understand the fight outside of the fight. And to me, that is that fight to not have to clock in at 9 o'clock in the morning, clock out at 5 o'clock. It's the fight to secure financial freedom. It's exciting to build your audience, build your platform, live life on your terms, not follow societal norms. For you, has this been big? Has this been a big part of the journey for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think being able to, I guess, be my own boss or do what I love and make money out of it has been a very big motivator for me. Knowing that I could potentially be going back to, or not be going back, but taking up a job in a cubicle somewhere if this doesn't work out is a very big motivator.
You know, for you, what does it mean to call yourself a martial artist?
Ooh, I mean, to call myself a martial artist, I think would just mean turning up into the gym every day, no matter what's happening in your life or what you got going in your head, and just being able to either just not getting worse through that day, turning up and not getting worse. If you get better, that's obviously a positive, but not regressing.
You know, obviously you're starting to become a bigger name in your gym. You're starting becoming a bigger name in the MMA community in general. You know, what's it like now when you have people reaching out, whether it be kids, young fighters, being like, hey, I look up to you. You inspire me. I want to take your path. I want to get to where you're at as well.
Oh, it's quite a humbling experience. Like when you have, especially like young kids and stuff who come up to you and say, "Oh, I've seen you fight," and you just it's just a reminder that, hey, what you put out there, like these kids are gonna see it. So you got to make sure, like, choose which character you want to play.
So I think that you have one of the more cooler nicknames in the sport. You are the Battle Giraffe. How did you come up with this thing?
That's that nickname was gifted to me. I will say forcefully gifted to me by Brad Riddell when we're running sprints one day, and Brad Riddell, you know, he's a fast man. He's played a lot of rugby. He's fast off the mark, but we were doing sprints, I think, for about a minute. So the lactic had kicked in, and then I just used my stride, he was here, and I just slowly came past him, and he's like, "Fuck, you're like a giraffe." He's the fucking battle giraffe. He's like, I'm running, and he's yelling after me. He's like, "It's the fucking battle giraffe." And then that was it.
That's awesome. Who's going to be in the corner for this one? Who are you bringing with you?
I've got Brogan Anderson coming over, who's former fighter turned necessity coach at the gym. He's an integral part of the gym, and Eugene Behrman as well. So me and Brogan, aka the Cobb, if we're going to go over a few days before, then Eugene's going to come over, I think, maybe on the Sunday.
Very good. All right, before I wrap up here, there's some big UFC fights coming up. I want to pick your brain on who do you think are going to win some of these big matchups. So we're going to start off in your division. It's a big middleweight championship contest. It's Khamzat Chimaev. It's Dricus du Plessis. Who wins this one?
Dricus, hands down. He's just got that retard strength, that insane cardio, and just mentally all up here. I just don't see Khamzat getting past it.
You know, another big one we got coming up. It's Gian Silva. It's Diego Lopez. What a fight. Who do you got?
Oh, I don't know. We haven't really seen Gian Silva get into like big scrambles and like crazy fights. But I think, I think he can take it against Diego. But it's going to be a close fight. So I'll go with Silva.
No, now going down in weight classes a little bit, we got Merab Dvalishvili taking on Corey Sandhagen. Who do you got winning that one?
Can Sandhagen stay like real like funky and like weird for 5 rounds? I don't know. I think Merab is just gonna just be the machine and just keep coming forwards and break him.
All right, last one. Big rematch just announced. It's Ankalaev. It's Alex Pereira who's winning the second time around.
Ankalaev for sure. Yeah, Pereira's done some great stuff, but Ankalaev seems to be a very, very smart, intelligent fighter.
You know, when you're watching these big contests, obviously we just mentioned some of the marquee names in the sport here. Do you get any motivation? You get inspiration off of some of these other guys?
Yeah, definitely. Especially in my weight class, when I watch when I watch these guys in my weight class and the higher up fights, even the lower fights, I'm like, man, what would I do? Like, I always ask myself, like, what would I do in this situation? And sometimes when I'm watching it and I'm like, yeah, I would do this, the guy ends up doing it and gets out. I'm like, yeah, see, I knew. You just do this and then you're standing up.
You know, when you're watching your weight class, are you going in there with the idea, who knows, maybe I can fight this guy 2 fights from now. Maybe I fight this guy 3 fights from now. Are you viewing these people as opponents?
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely watching some of these fights, especially on the prelims and early prelims in my weight class, and thinking, oh, I could potentially be fighting them. But I do have a fight coming up, so I don't put too much thought into that until I get over Jon Kunneman.
You know, you're part of that middleweight weight class that has been so dominant in the past 5, 6, 7 years. Some great champions, some great talent in there. Does that excite you knowing that if you get into the UFC, I mean, you're in a fire fest of the division?
Yeah, it excites me for sure. I'm gonna make some good money. They're gonna put me to work, and then I'm gonna go out there and I'm just gonna make some money.
You know, one thing in this day and age that we're really seeing is the entertainment aspect of martial arts and combat sports in general. You know, everyone now is on social media. You got guys calling out each other on social media. It's a bunch of people putting up content. For you, you've always been a guy, you've really stayed true to yourself. How important has that been for your career?
It's just what I do. Like, I don't really fire shots online unless people start shooting at me, then I'll shoot back. But I like to just kind of stay on my side of the line, and it's comfortable.
You know, one aspect that social media is really allowing us to see are the casual fans of the sport. And at the end of the day, obviously great for the sport. More eyeballs on it, the better for everybody. But does it kind of scratch your head a little bit when you see some crazy takes, or you're at a fight and you hear twist them in the you know what, or booing for jiu-jitsu exchanges? Do you have some fun with it ever?
Oh, I love that. I love the casuals. After my Finney fight, I had casuals messaging me telling me I suck. I'm like, fuck, I love this. Like, if you put yourself on social media, it's fair game. Like, anyone should be able to message you. If you don't like it, throw your phone away. I think it's fair game. Go for it. Casuals, come at me. I don't care.
There you go. All right, Cam, last question for you, my friend. In a perfect world, what is the outcome on August 19th when you make your return to the Dana White Contender Series against Jon Kunneman?
Perfect world. We're both standing there, absolutely exhausted, drenched in blood, and they call a split decision to me, because it's that moment of waiting, and then you win it, and then it's just like, boom, huge dopamine hit, the thrill, the agony. It's just the best.
You know, with a victory, is there any chance we see a shoey or shoeys?
A shoey? Oh, of course. There'll be a few shoeys.
There you go. Well, hey, Cam, man, thank you so much for your time. I know training camp's probably crazy right now, but I really appreciate it, my friend.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. That's it for us today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Carl Prusa. He is Mr. Cam Rowston. He is the Battle Giraffe. Watch him August 19th, Dana White Contender Series, taking out Jon Kunneman. Good night, fight fans.